Samantha, as a project manager, leads a software development team employing an adaptive approach. Yeah. Lately, the team debates that task merits visualization on a Kanban board versus those that can be directly undertaken without visualization. This discord disputes the team's productivity and concentration. To amicably settle the disagreement and underline the need for clear accountability, what should Samantha do first? So in a way, the question is also giving some hint. We will explore, but this is a usual problem which any project manager will face. When you are working in the adaptive approach, you want to make sure that its work is visualized. Sometimes there are small work team feels they can finish it rather than creating a task out of it or a sticky out of it and putting it on the Kanban board. So how do you balance the flexibility of doing some small work without visualization and ensuring that we have a clear visibility of what is going on where, and we have a clear understanding of accountability, who is doing what? Yeah, so that's the case the project manager is dealing with. Let's look at the four options available. Enforce a strict rule mandating every task, irrespective of its magnitude or significance, to be displayed on the Kanban board. Now, the word strict looks a little difficult. Yeah, it is something that we need to have a collaborative agreement that what kind of task needs to be visualized and what can be done maybe off the board. In general, most of the organizations and teams may follow a rule where they want to visualize everything. Yeah, but until unless the team ground rule talks about it, until unless team talks about it, I can't say I will enforce it. Now, if the question tells enforce the ground rule where the team has agreed to put all the tasks on the board, then this may become a right option, because I as a project manager should make sure that people are following the rules which they have created themselves. But me coming up and saying that you guys need to do this may look very directive approach, may not be a good idea, in especially in the adaptive way of working. Option B, convene a team session to jointly establish guideline for task visualization on the Kanban board, accentuating the essence of clarity and answerability. Yeah. So it's more about a team charter. That's a great option. So we should come together, have a clear understanding of what goes on the board, what remains off the board, and if something is off the board, if something goes wrong beyond a particular situation, we probably need to put it on the board. So having a working agreement with the team and then following it, enforcing it going forward is the option B. Looks great. Let's see other options as well. Option C, propose a guideline suggesting task extending beyond a day's duration should invariably appear on the Kanban board for better transparency. This may look great idea. This may be a thing which you are already doing in your project. But in this case, the option B is good, because option B may agree to a C kind of approach. We can say, let's talk together, and probably we agree that anything which is of a more than 1 days of duration probably goes on the board. If something has come, someone gave you a call, probably you can resolve that issue then and there rather than putting it on the board. Yeah, so it should come based on agreement rather than me forcing it. It is the option C is more or less like option A. The only difference is option C is using a word which is little diluted, propose. Yeah, the option A was clearly showing enforce, which makes it clearly out. So C could have been candidate option, but we already have a option B, so we don't consider C as a great idea here. Assume the responsibility of managing the Kanban board herself, ensuring comprehensive task update. Yeah, so project manager will say, guys, I will take care of it. I'm your servant leader. You don't worry about it. I will put everything on the board, and then I will move the sticky from one stage to another stage as it is moving. So you don't worry about it. Some of you may say this is what the servant leaders are expected to do. This is what the project manager, scrum master should do. Not a great idea, because you don't want to become a bottleneck in the process. You want your team to be self organized. You don't want to be a single point of failure. Yes, you can resolve impediment, you can guide them how to do it, but why you are involved in making the movement of the task and helping them to track it? I can guide, but I am not taking the single point responsibility of doing it. Yeah, so option D is not good, because you are becoming single point of failure and you are becoming a hub in the communication, because everything passed through you, which is not a good idea. So looking at all the options, option B is good, which is talking about let's talk, let's have a conversation, and let's make a update in our team charter to find out what goes on the board and what remains off the board. It can be done as a part of retrospective also. You don't have to convene that particular meeting then and there. Yeah, depending upon the options we have. If we had an option which says, it's not a big issue, why don't you discuss it in a retrospective to find out, that can also work as a nice alternative here. In the PMP exam, our choice depends upon available four options, so we need to choose out of this. And they acknowledge, analyze, and act also works here, because option B is basically focusing on analyzing and collaborating on the issue rather than acting on it based on your own judgment. Yeah. So looking at the task, it is more about empowering team members and stakeholder, the people domain task 4, which is more about ensuring the team accountability is visible and it is clearly seen by each team member, and we probably end up using Kanban board for it. It also maps to task 12, which is all about define team ground rules. It's a part of the ground rules to understand what goes on the board and what can remain off the board. Yeah, how do we communicate with each other? How do we establish a working environment which ensures the ground rules are adhered in a long-term basis? So this is how we can map it. It is also indirectly mapped to manage communication, because we are focusing on using the communication technique which probably help us in resolving this issue in a more collaborative and interactive manner. Rather than I write an email or rather than I dictate something, we are saying let's come together and discuss about it. And probably we need to understand how do we communicate with each other if we are not putting the issue or the work on the board. So in a way, it is also a topic of managing communication about where the work is stuck. So overall, it's all about topics covered: empowering team, focusing on ground rules, managing the communication, demonstrating servant leadership, but not for fixing the Kanban board or a information radiator, not that way. Yeah, we do learn about Kanban board and information radiator indirectly in this particular question.